My brothers and sisters, may the Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. Jesus said to his disciples, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. You have faith in God, have faith in me. In my Father's house there are many dwelling places. If there were not, would I have told you that I'm going to prepare a place for you? And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back again and take you to myself, so that where I am, you also may be. Where I am going, you know the way." Thomas said to him, "Master, we do not know where you are going. How can we know the way?" Jesus said to him, "I am the way, and the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father except through me." The Gospel of the Lord. As we see the accounts of the relationship that existed between the apostles and Jesus during those 3 years, we surely see many times that there was a lot of confusion, that they more often than not were missing the mark. They came upon him and probably were enticed by the quality of what he did and what he was like, but they all had their own agendas. And a couple of the disciples, for example, are known as the Zealots, which was a kind of a political party at that time within Judaism, looking for freedom from the domination of Roman government. And so all of them came with the idea that this Jesus hopefully would do anything from being the Messiah to give them freedom again and make them an independent nation, to his awareness of him being a prophet of great rapport. It's only after, of course, the reception of the Spirit and the event of the resurrection that everything clicks for the disciples. And we see another example of that today as Jesus again tries to present to them the way that they must be about their life and how they must be linked to him. And as he's explained this all, Thomas comes up and says, "Well, we don't know where you're going. How can we know the way?" There's still this confusion. And Jesus has to point blank say, it's not a journey, it's not a road. I'm the way. I'm the way that you can end up becoming fulfilled in God. That name, the way, very early on in the church's life was the way it described itself, because for the initial beginnings of it all, it was initially people of Judaism that became Christians, and since they still considered themselves for a time to be Jewish, this was just the unique avenue that they were taking, perhaps, for their own salvation. And so it was known as the way. And it was only when finally the church began to become a bit more structured and the preaching of Paul took effect that the church begins to identify itself very distinctly as something different from everything else. And so we're told in the course of the Acts of the Apostles that it is at the church at Antioch that for the first time this group were called Christians. Ever since then, of course, there's been a much clearer identity and sense. We only need to look at the mark of those who, convinced of who this Jesus is, at all cost followed him. And we celebrate 2 of them today in the persons of Achilles and Nereus, who were both Roman soldiers and who left during the time of Diocletian their occupations to become Christians, and in turn were under Diocletian martyred for their beliefs and their convictions in following this Jesus. And throughout the course of history, there have been countless examples of individuals who did not have any question at all about who they should follow and how they should live their lives, even to the point if it meant that they had to lose their life in order to ultimately gain it. Today, then, as we gather here as the Christians of this century, we're reminded that we have to show that same witness in the way we believe and are convinced of the faith. And we have to somehow express it, not just in what we do and say, but who we are.